So much is happening in the federal government, I can barely keep up, but let's go. Supreme Court Swamp Watch edition. And the first case up in the past week was Bondi versus Vanderstoke. And this case was related to ghost guns. Ghost guns are untraceable weapons without serial numbers, and they can be assembled from components purchased on the internet. Bondi versus Vanderstoke, the Supreme Court upheld a Biden-era regulation which said that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms can regulate ghost guns. Two individual gun owners from Texas had challenged the law allowing the ATF to regulate them, saying that they were assembled from components. They weren't actual guns and firearms that were purchased whole. And a Texas district court sided with those gun owners, but the Supreme Court overturned that, siding with the Biden-era administration's regulation related to these guns. The second case, United States versus Miller, was related to bankruptcy. Typically, when an organization files for bankruptcy, they're able to claw back payments that they have made to creditors in the months or years leading up to the bankruptcy. And in this particular case, the plaintiffs were trying to claw back money that they had paid to the IRS for unpaid tax debts. And the IRS said that they don't have to refund that money so that it can then be distributed to creditors in the order in which they are owed. It said because of sovereign immunity, they're not subject to that same rule and they don't have to give the money back. In this case, the Supreme Court sided actually against the IRS in an 8-1 decision, saying that the IRS should be treated like any other creditor and shouldn't have this most favored nation status to have their debts collected first. The Trump administration also filed an emergency motion asking the Supreme Court to overturn a lower court's order blocking deportation of Venezuelan people suspected of being violent gang members, using the Alien Enemies Act as the authorization to do so. The Supreme Court didn't immediately overturn it. Instead, they gave the Trump Justice Department until April 1st to respond to some questions related to the application, and we're still waiting on a final ruling. And President Trump also filed an emergency request asking the Supreme Court to intervene in an ongoing dispute between the Department of Education and various states that sued over grants that had been approved and funded being halted and clawed back by the federal government and not being paid out. A lower court had ordered the Education Department to restore millions in dollars of grants for recipients in 8 states that had